All right, what's up, guys? It is Sunday evening. It is time to get locked in for the upcoming week. So I was going to jump through some charts that I like to start the week off. But first, let's look at the Qs. Actually, let's look at the futures just opened up a little bit ago, and they're just down slightly. Okay, so nothing crazy happening Sunday evening. Um, Definitely need to see a bigger pullback. Hopefully, we'll get that this week. I was talking last week that I'd like to see a bigger pullback. And I thought last week we would see some more sideways action and maybe pull in a little bit. That did not happen. It held in there and even got stronger and ended up closing on Friday at basically at all-time highs again. So, we'll see how it wants to play out. Eventually, we're going to get a little bit of a consolidation pullback pattern here. And I think that will set up well for some of the other names I want to watch. Marvel being one of them. And this is one we were playing on Friday. We actually played it a couple times last week. Thursday got chopped up and it lost some money. And then I think Tuesday I made some money, a little bit of money on it before getting stopped out. But Friday was the big winner. As played into this gap higher and just had weakness right out of the gates. I do still have a position on maybe 10-20%, somewhere around there. And I will be looking to add to this at some point. Ideally, what I'd like to see is a break of prior day lows. So this 158.50 area from Friday is on my radar. If we come out weak and it breaks below that, I'll be adding to my position. If it, for whatever reason, it stays stronger, I'll kind of wait, feel it out. And, I just don't want to be blindly adding into more strength in case this thing wants to keep going higher a lot more than I would like it to. So if it does open stronger, I'll wait and see how it develops. If we come out weaker, I'll be adding through the prior day's lows, and then I want to see a bigger pullback into like 150 or lower. This is a really big move, so we could easily see back into the 140s, no problem, over the next week or two if this wants to kind of settle out. Just a really strong move. Like Marvel's hasn't made moves like this before. It's just really incredible. But every big pop it does get, we have a nice sell off afterwards. This one, you can see how complicated the tops can get, especially in large caps or mid caps. But oftentimes, when you see a sharp move like this, you'll get similar backside action where you get a sharper pull in. So that's what I'll be looking for in Marvel coming into Monday. This is obviously going to be a focus for me, as well as AMD. AMD is another one I traded on Friday. Made a little bit of money, but then it held in very strong, and I stopped out of the rest of the position. I would really like to see this gap up tomorrow. I think that would set up well. We're very extended. This has been on a huge move. Big gap up day on Friday following Intel's earnings, and it remains strong. If we got another gap up, that sets up super well for a reversal, and we'll definitely be looking to hit that pretty hard if that's the case. Otherwise, I'll be looking for action to the downside on weakness, breakthrough prior day low on Friday. The 334.50 area is definitely on radar. Into the gap would be shortened into that. We're really extended. We're extended from the 10-day, had a big gap day, and had a wide range day as well on Friday. So a lot of things are setting up for this to have a bit of a pull in, a bit of a reversal or mean reversion trade. So AMD high on the radar for focus list tomorrow morning, along with Marvel. Just really like this. So be watching AMD. And then coin was one I was talking about last week. It's getting to be a good looking setup here. We had a nice break above the 10-day back in February and March, and it put in this pattern here, and I really liked it. I might even traded it on this day, looking for it to break out, but ultimately ended up failing. And we did end up putting in some higher lows versus the pivot back in February here, and it started curling back up, and we're in this consolidation zone. Basically between 213.50 and 192. It's been bouncing between. So what I want to see it do is continue to get tight and look for it to break up through this consolidation zone and out of it on some volume. I think it's set up really well for a breakout pattern, especially if the markets are hanging in there. So this will be on my radar for a momentum swing trade, and 213.50 will be the key level that I'll be watching. Now, if it does come in strong and close right below that level, I may put on a starter and then look to add as it breaks through 213.50. So I'll be keeping tabs on this throughout the week and just kind of see how it develops. So that's one of the charts I like. And then HPE, this is one I was talking about last week. I was buying on this breakout for momentum swing. Had a nice big push here on volume. Got a pull in. And then we started getting into some tighter action here with some inside days sitting right on the 10-day. And then we finally got that follow through breakout day that I was buying into. And then I sold pretty much most. I think I have around 20% of a position that I'm sitting on. And I was looking to see if we get a little bit of a deeper pull in. If we come into the 10-day or lower, I'll probably add into that weakness and then look to see if that can bounce from there. And then see if we can, establish ourselves another flag pattern, maybe start getting tighter like we were in here. And then I could look to add on the breakout through there. So that's HPE. Really nice breakout. When we're coming out of corrective phases, I've talked about this before, momentum breakout swings are oftentimes really, really good during those periods, and usually are the time of the year or where I'll make most of my money. The same thing happened last year in the Qs during the tariffs. We had the big gnarly move lower, and then we started coming up out of it, and just a lot of stocks were ramping up really hard. The market was really strong. So those breakouts can be very, very good for follow through, and you can get some big runs. All right, so that's basically what I'm looking at. I don't have a ton of stuff, but the stuff that I do have on watch, I really like. AMD, I think, is an awesome setup, just really elevated. A gap up tomorrow is going to be would be an awesome setup, and I'll be waking up early to see if that's the case. If we do get the gap up, and then I'll also be managing this Marvel. We also have a really busy week this week with earnings. All the big names are reporting, so we'll have to keep tabs on that and be mindful of our positions going into this week. We have, let's see, Hood kicks off on Tuesday. Then we got Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Google, QCOM on Wednesday evening. Thursday we have Apple and Reddit. So a ton of names reporting. Going to be a lot of action. Rest up. Let's get ready and see if we can find some good action, some good setups this week through the earnings season. All right, guys, I will catch you tomorrow in the room, see if there's any fresh news, see if there's anything else setting up. But right now, that's what I have for you. And I will see you guys in the room tomorrow morning. Take care.